Greg, with its wind speeds picking back up and returning it to hurricane status, Ian is now set to make landfall along the coast of South Carolina this afternoon, where preparations are already underway.
Doesn't make much difference whether this comes in at hurricane strength or below it storm strength or somewhere on the line, because it's going to be blowing strong winds. And it's going to be all over the state at different levels, as you can see if you go and look at those maps. But we know we're going to have a lot of water.
The Category 1 storm with maximum sustained wind speeds of about 85 miles per hour is currently located approximately 100 miles south of Charleston and is moving northward at speeds of about 9 miles per hour. The storm is soaking the coasts of both Georgia and South Carolina and expected to bring life-threatening storm surges to both states. Flooding from Ian is forecast to impact the Carolinas into Virginia through the weekend. For the very latest on what's happening in Florida, Fior, what do you have?
Thank you, Mike. So here in Florida, after Hurricane Ian made landfall at the island of Cayo Costa near Fort Myers on Wednesday afternoon with winds of over 150 miles per hour, we know that 250,000 Floridians are left without a home right now. They are displaced, and state officials say 1.9 million Floridians are still without power as emergency management officials and residents alike just deal with the devastating aftermath of this hurricane. Ian, considered or determined to be one of the strongest hurricanes to batter the Sunshine State. This morning, Governor Ron DeSantis held a press briefing from the Florida Division Emergency Management. Director Kevin Guthrie clarified the death toll as they know so far.
21 total. We do have an identified situation that was done during the hasty search of some fatalities. We do not know exactly how many were in the house. And let me paint the picture for you. The water was up over the rooftop, right? But we had a Coast Guard rescue swimmer swim down into it, and he could identify that it appeared to be human remains. We do not know exactly how many. We do not know what the situation is.
And unfortunately, the death toll is expected to rise, keeping in mind that officials are still investigating and trying to determine whether each death is a direct result of Hurricane Ian. If we could just go ahead and show video of Orange County. This was the scene at Lake Eola Park in downtown Orlando, pretty much underwater in the area. Also, we can show images of Osceola County, where the National Guard and emergency rescue workers helped residents out of historic widespread flooding. Some areas reporting floodwaters 3 to 4 feet deep. The Medical Arts District in Kissimmee was also covered in water, and that's actually about 2 miles away from our Victory News studios, housed right here at Misión La Cosecha Church, where you can see, if we could just have the videographer go ahead, pan, and show you. We are located on North Orange Blossom Trail, and out here you can see there's some damage on the church structure. They're working on the roof. The crew's out here. There is significant damage also inside in the sanctuary. The pastor, Dr. Agustin Lopez, estimates the damages to be upwards of $70,000. And well, he asks me to thank all of you in advance for your prayers. We will continue to follow the aftermath of Hurricane Ian here in Florida as best as we can and continue to pray for all of us. I'm Fior Hernandez, live from Kissimmee. Back to you, Mike.
Thank you for that, Fior. And for the 6th week in a row, mortgage rates are up nearly 7%, the highest rate in 15 years. And that's more than double since the start of the year as inflation soared and the Federal Reserve hiked borrowing rates. Buying a home is becoming increasingly out of reach for many Americans. Even sellers are thinking twice about moving.
High mortgage rates end up locking in homeowners who fixed a low mortgage rate before. So if you're a homeowner who has a 3% mortgage rate and you're thinking about buying again, it's going to cost you around 40% more to buy the exact same home.
While home sales are down, there still isn't enough supply of houses, which is keeping prices up. But the Fed's hikes have also impacted new house and new home construction, with many who thought they could purchase a brand new home in the beginning of 2022 realizing they can no longer afford it just months later.
Last night, Flashpoint's Gene Bailey spoke with media executive and talk show host Glenn Beck about his latest book, The Great Reset. They discussed the growing pressure on Christians and what believers can do to push back during these treacherous times.
Something that really stands out to me, because this is something I would have said, we must find the strength to become happy warriors, and we can no longer allow ourselves to believe the big lie. There's nothing that we can do in our own personal life to move the needle. You're not too small to help change the world. Expand on that. What do you mean by that? We're not too small to help change the world. What can we do?
We could do an awful lot. First, we must, quoting Martin Luther King, daily study the works, the words, and the actions of Jesus Christ. We must become more Christ-like. We must open our hearts. We must love our enemy. That's really super hard for me to do, as I don't really like them, but I'm not required to like them. I just can't condemn them to an eternal lake of fire, right. And I can't say, I hate you. I really dislike the things that you do, and this is not in line with universal principles, and so I have to stand up. That's the biggest thing. And churches, if you are in a church that is not speaking out right now about the loss of rights, about we didn't solve abortion, kids, it's about to go even darker. If your pastor is not talking to you because, that's political, if you're an American, first of all, if you're a Christian, you know God has an opinion. Right. So why isn't your pastor talking about it? Why aren't we as Christians standing in front of the Federal Reserve right now, which within the next 5 years, if it takes that long, we will have a digital currency. I'm not saying it is the mark of the beast, but I'm telling you it has all of the earmarks of the mark of the beast. Do you think Jesus Christ has an opinion on whether or not we should stand up and say that technology is way too dangerous? No, we're not doing that. I think Jesus has an opinion on that. Yes, it's very simple. So if you really want to help and you think you're powerless, all you have to do is stand up in your church, stand up in your office, and like Christ, not the turning of the tables, but just like Christ saying, no, that's not true. Call your friends up and ask them, and don't ask them an honest question, because maybe we'll learn something.
To watch Gene's full interview with Glenn Beck in its entirety, visit flashpoint.govictory.com.